How's it going, guys? Jacob Dupre here at Kraft Music, and I'm going to show you the Nord Organ 3. I know I can speak for a lot of musicians out there that we are so excited that this instrument is here. It's been a long time waiting for it from the C2D, which was a wonderful instrument, and this one is truly the next generation of that instrument, which was really great. But this one has improved upon it. It's got a brand new rotary speaker and amp sim that sounds beautiful. I'd say probably the best sounding in the biz, if you want to know my opinion. I'm going to give you an overview of the Nord Organ 3, all its features, or the Norgan as I like to call it, and we'll talk about the accessories. You have the stand, the pedal keys 25, MIDI controller for your feet, and you have the half moon switch over here, that accessory for changing the rotary speed. And last but not least, you have the expression pedal or the swell pedal. Let's start out by talking about the rotary speaker and amp sim. Nord has really outdone themselves, which is saying a lot with this. They spent a lot of time trying to record and capture the sound of that classic rotary speaker and add it to this instrument, and I think it's the best it's ever sounded from any Nord model that has the organ on it. You get rotary speaker sims, you get amp sims, a twin, British, and a JC. You got different mic positions, so you can change the perspective of the miking of the Leslie. And you have drive types as well, and of course that amount when you want to really crank it up and get it distorted. Something I really like to do just to show how beautiful it sounds is just really strip everything away, so take the vibrato off, take the percussion, turn the rotor speed to stop, so all you get is just that pure sound. Which, of course, just the basic organ samples on this sound really great as well. And with the triple sensor keybed, you can really get a lot of quick articulations, and it's very authentic and it sounds great. But back to that rotary, if I just even turn the drive all the way down, now we're going to go from stop to slow. And then slow to fast. That feels so good. I mean, that to me is what makes a great B3. If a digital B3, if you can sell me on that experience, and you don't even really need to know what you're doing. I mean, I can tell you, I'm really a piano player at heart, and I'm falling more in love with a B3 all the time. And even just playing one note and hearing that speed change and that sound of just holding one chord. And you bring in a little drive and get it a little crunchier. It's amazing. I mean, in a mix, that's going to sound so realistic. Of course, also it does have the external rotary speaker on the I/O, so if you did want to send it through an external speaker, you could, but boy, that onboard rotary speaker is pretty awesome. So as I mentioned, you have 3 drive types you can do. So a little bit different sound there, and then 5 different mic positions. So this is really interesting. Check this out. It's subtle, but there's what you're basically hearing is a change in perspective, because if you know anything about miking a real tone wheel organ, or in this case the speaker, the rotary speaker, is that where you mic it has everything to do with the sound. You know, if you're miking the horn on the top, the drum underneath, whether you're doing stereo, wide, mono, you know, you mic different areas of kind of perspectives of the speaker. So the other thing to know about this instrument, whether you're a seasoned player that's played, you know, maybe on a real Hammond, on a B3, maybe you grew up playing in church, or you're a jazz or rock player, or, you know, maybe you're like me, you really started as a pianist and you're getting more into B3, is that this instrument is laid out to make you feel right at home. You know, so if you're starting as an experienced player on this, going from the real thing to digital, or you're starting out fresh, really learning it for the first time, everything's in the correct place. You know, so percussion on the right here, you have all the standard settings for percussion. Vibrato chorus on the left, the rotor speed on the bottom, and the half moon switch attachment, which is an accessory you can get, which I would recommend because a lot of players, you know, want to get used to being able to very quickly flip the speed of the speaker while they're playing. So that's really a great thing about it. Now you have, of course, some modern things that could only happen on a digital version. You have LED drawbars. So I kind of personally like it because, you know, if I go to a different preset, it shows you exactly where the drawbars are when you start out. Of course, if you manipulate them, you essentially overwrite the program or preset. But you can turn that off. You know, I know I've talked to some players that are like, I don't need LEDs. Well, you can adjust that if you don't like it. Addition to the B3 sound, of course, you get Vox, Farfisa, pipe organ, and a soft B3. So you get more organ models. You get, of course, the B3 is what most people are going to be wanting to do on this, you know, because this instrument has that background in, you know, gospel music, jazz, rock, and B3 is that sound. But you've got Vox, Farfisa, pipe. You know, if you're in church and you need the pipe organ sound, it's there. So maybe now what I'll do is just go through a few of the presets, and on Nord, just so you know, they're called programs. And just like on all the other Nords, you can adjust any of the settings here. You can add EQ, a little delay, something in the mod section, tweak everything from percussion, vibrato, and then save that and recall it. So you can have a set list, you know, all the sounds you need for a show all set up in your program list. And it's really easy to do that on Nord. It's one of the great things about all their keyboards. But let's go through some sounds. Let's see what I can drum up. Here's something that's using the Farfisa sound. You have access to the drawbars for the lower manual. Yeah, there you go. So something different. Let's see. Oh, this is using the Vox model. Yeah. Now, just to show you quick, and again, kind of talking about why Nord I think is so great, especially for the live player, is everything's right on the panel. You know, so a small screen, but it's not a downside. It's great because you don't have to menu dive. You don't have to, you know, get so deep into figuring out how to program and find menus and where everything is. It's all right here. So if I'm starting with this preset, you know, maybe this is what is inspiring me to write a tune, or I'm just practicing. Like, I like this sound, but maybe I want to add some chorus to it. Just like that, adjust the rate and amount, turn modulation on. it's done. It was that fast and I've already started to customize the sound. Go to reverb, say I want to add the spring reverb, which I really liked, probably my favorite reverb. Turn up the amount. Perfect. If I want to EQ, maybe cut out some of the bass frequencies. There you go. Add the percussion. I want some delay as well. Tap out the tempo. Add up the amount, change the feedback and tempo. See how fun that was? So you can just really be in the moment and be creative and start making these sounds your own. And talking about the modulation section, that's where you get some effects that can, do what a original kind of traditional tone wheel organ can't, which is add some effects. And that's a cool thing to have on board. Keyboard players these days, some of them have guitar pedals they use with their keyboards and like to have other kind of outboard gear to change their keyboard sounds. But this way you've got it right there. So if you want to do a bit of a, kind of modern creative twist on the B3 sound, you can do that. So here's a preset that's using ring mod. That's an interesting sound, and look, I'll admit there'll be a lot of people like, what? You putting a ring mod on an organ, but hey, you know what? There's all kinds. Jazz fusion is a thing, and those guys like to play with some weird sounds, so you never know. You've got also tremolo, so you've got ring mod, tremolo, phaser, flanger, and chorus. So, and like I was showing you before, if I want to try out the phaser. I kind of like that. It's good for like a funk thing. And just, kind of spur of the moment when I'm thinking, I would love to be able to walk bass in the left hand. It's easy to do on here. You have the bass pedal, 2 drawbars for the bass pedal, just press 2 low manual, and now instead of the lower manual here, or I can switch to, of course, A or B. So this will be upper manual A, B, and then lower manual A and B. But instead of that, I can do 2 low manual, and now I'm walking the bass pedal with my left hand, just like I'd be doing with my feet on the pedal keys, but now I got it with my left hand. So easy, now I've got a bass pedal I can walk, and I can change that phaser. Might be a little much. So in addition to the organ model that you can change, you have different bass models as well. So you have a B3, a Vox Farfisa, pipe, and then there's a user section as well. But one of the interesting additions to this is synth basses now. So you actually can really get an even more kind of, cutting edge modern sound on it. There's one preset I like in here, B3 T bass, and this is using that synth bass model going from the bass pedal. So the bass pedals are being sent to the low manual, and this is that. Yeah, so that's a super fun sound. You can change a little bit of the envelope of it. You have a sustain button there. So with sustain off, you can hear that attack, and the release is pretty quick. But then sustain 1, a little bit longer, and then an even longer tail. For the amp sim, you get 4 options there. So this is the rotary speaker sim right here. Sounds amazing. On the rotary speaker, you get 4 amp sims, you get 5 mic positions, and 3 drive types. So let me just take you through quickly a few of those different kind of sounds so you can hear. So I'll get the JC going. This is the JC sim. British. Slightly different tone there, and then twin. And then, of course, you have the rotary speaker. And now I can cycle through some mic positions. So that was all 5. It's a subtle change, but there is a perspective change that's happening, which is just simulating some of the different ways you would mic a traditional Leslie speaker, rotary speaker. And then for the drive types, you know, where you can start to have fun is to mix those amp sims with some of the drive types. So say I want to call up the British, maybe do drive type 1 here for now. But if I go to twin, I think I like that a bit better. So it's so fun. Let's go through the I/O and some of the routing options you have, because there's some really nice features that were added to this in that realm. So starting on the left, you have the external rotary speaker high level out. So that's if you're wanting to use an external Leslie, rather than the internal rotary amp sim. So that feature is there for you. You have monitor in and headphones, great for practicing. You have left-right stereo out and an aux out, which is a third out. So I'll tell you how I've been using that and how a lot of players are using it is, you can of course just record this left-right stereo out, mono on each side, and get the whole organ. But in a lot of situations, if you're walking with the pedal keys or with the left hand, like I was doing, you want to route it separately. Maybe give it to the front of house, or if you're recording at home. So that's what I've been doing. I've got my interface and I go 3 channels in. So I have the left and the right of just the organ proper, just the manuals. And then the aux is a 3rd channel just of the bass pedal. So that's great for mixing. Of course you want to be able to treat the low and high end frequencies differently in a mix. So that's just a great thing to have. And it's really easy to go into the system settings in the Nord menu there and change those kind of routing options. Next to that, you have the bass pedal input, which is a MIDI connection, and you have the MIDI in and out. So if you want to be able to use that, you can just use this as a MIDI controller. I've done that before. It works great for that. You have the sustain pedal input, which if you're not wanting to use either the built-in buttons here or the half moon switch, you can actually use a sustain pedal that you would use on, a piano keyboard, and you can use that to change the rotary speed. And I like doing that because I walk bass lines with my left hand, and I like to keep my hands on the keys, so to change from slow to fast, you can just use your foot. It's great. Then next to that, you have the swell pedal input, USB, and then rotary control input, which is where the half moon switch goes. Let's talk about the accessories. You've got the stand, which is, I'd say, a must because just the size of the organ, which is really a unique length, and it is a bit different than the C2D was. You really need to get the stand. It's made specifically to fit the Nord Organ 3, so that's definitely a must. You have the half moon switch here, which I showed you before. That's just for being able to change from slow to fast to stop for the Leslie. So that's an attachment that a lot of players, especially experienced players, are going to want because they're used to having that switch there. The pedal keys, 25 underneath. So this is really cool because it actually doesn't need its own dedicated power. It does have DC power, but all you need is the MIDI cable that goes to the Nord Organ 3, and that powers it up. That's all you need. Attached to that, you have the swell pedal, and this one is the EP30, but there's also the EP15. They both have a slightly different throw to them, so you'd probably want to pick up both, maybe try out, see which one fits your playing style. In addition to that, you can get a music rest attachment. There's a metal and a wood option for that. And last but not least, the soft case, which is made specifically for Nord. I will say specifically that I love my Nord bags. They're durable, they've got wheels, they're easy to carry around. And for instruments like this that are weighing in 30, 40 pounds, you want to have a good case. To get everything you need for your Nord Organ 3, make sure you check out the bundles at Kraft Music. They'll include all these accessories I talked about here and even more.